Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we're doing the What's Next on Joyce, the former WBO interim heavyweight champion of the world, following his second consecutive defeat in his rematch to Zhilei Zhang as he attempted to regain the WBO interim heavyweight title from Zhang. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel up here. So, Joyce, disappointing is an understatement. But, you know, he got destroyed against Zhang in the rematch, got knocked out in the third round. Zhang left no doubt in the rematch. You know, after the first fight, again, as I said in the Zhang What's Next video, you could argue that Joyce overlooked Zhang the first time. You could argue that Zhang just beat up that right eye early. It started swelling early in the fight, and so it swelled shut, and Joyce, you know, wanted to continue, but he couldn't. You could argue both those things, but the rematch, there was no more arguing, you know. But there was a lot of fans saying that Joyce should have never taken the rematch. I don't agree with that. Joyce is a 36-year-old fighter, well, 37 now, 37-year-old fighter, even though he's kind of a young 37 because he started his pro career late, and hasn't really taken any punishment prior to the two Zhang fights. You know, he was an avoided fighter, and you know, not a lot of guys lining up to fight him unless they were mandatory fights or all UK fights like the Dubois fight or like the Joseph Parker mandatory fight. So this was a way to try to force a potential fight with Fury or Usyk or somebody, you know, like one of those two fighters by next year. You know, that was a real possibility. So he knew that if he let the rematch that he had in the contract with Zhang go, if he let that, if he didn't take the rematch and take that chance of beating Zhang, that he was just going to have to start at the back of the line. And, you know, people would be wondering, well, you know, he was overlooking Zhang that night, so he might still be a threat. I'm not going to sign up to fight that guy when I can go an easier route. And so I agreed with him fighting Zhang because Zhang was being lobbied for a shot with Tyson Fury if Joyce didn't activate that rematch clause. So I agree that Joyce activated it. He got beat and shut down. Now he has to start over from scratch no matter what. At least he took the chance. That's the way I see it. And now he knows for sure that, you know, at least for the next couple years, I'm not going to get another crack at Zhilei Zhang, and the dude's the better man. So, you know, now he starts over. Now the big question is, what's next for Joyce following that second consecutive knockout loss? One, I think he takes some time off. Coming off of 2 losses, I think he's going to take at least 6 months off. If he's smart, don't return until the spring of 2024, you know? Stay out of the ring. Now, is he going to fight a top 10 guy? Let's run through the top 10 real quick and see. You know, because now he's going to have a huge drop in the WBO rankings because he got convincingly defeated. We don't know what his highest ranking is going to be. He's definitely going to have to work his way back up. Let's see what could be possible. Tyson Fury, no chance. He's fighting Usyk for undisputed anyways, and there's a rematch clause for the loser. Usyk, the unified champion, no chance. He's fighting Fury for undisputed, and there's a rematch clause in a contract. Not that they would fight Joyce anyways, coming off back-to-back losses. Deontay Wilder, no chance. Wilder, why would he fight a guy who's been knocked out back-to-back times and take that risk? Not going to happen. Anthony Joshua, not going to happen. Why would he take that risk against a guy coming off back-to-back losses? No way. Then there's, let me see here. Zhilei Zhang, a third fight, no chance. Zhang stopped him twice. Zhang does not need to fight him again. No way. Filip Hrgović, the IBF interim, IBF mandatory, no. He beat the guy that beat the guy. He has a victory over Zhilei Zhang, and he's next in line to fight for the world title. And now the world title is going to become the undisputed world title. We don't know if the IBF is going to allow Hrgović to stay champion or to if they're gonna allow the winner of Undisputed between Fury and Usyk to stay champion. So Hrgovic might be a world champion before he even fights again. Why take the risk and fight a guy who's coming off back-to-back losses? Not gonna happen, in my opinion. Andy Ruiz Jr. He's not gonna take a risk either against a guy like Joyce coming off back-to-back losses. Ruiz is only gonna take a big fight. He's even pricing himself out of those. He's definitely not going to take on a guy like Joyce. Luis Ortiz, intriguing. The only roadblock I see here is the fact that Ortiz is with the PBC and Joe Joyce has ties with Top Rank. That's the roadblock here that I don't think it would be possible. But these two guys might, they might want it bad enough and say, come on, let's do this shit. But I don't know, Joe Joyce, even though Ortiz is towards his mid-40s, I don't know if he's going to want to, take on a guy with that kind of punching power and if the fight can be made by crossing the street. So I'm going to lean towards no. Dillian White. I think the possibility of this fight is there simply because it's an all-UK battle. But you have the issue of Top Rank and Matchroom working together to make the fight. Dillian White might, I just think the guy he's viewed as a gatekeeper now, so he just might get a better opportunity against one of the other top 10 guys. If he doesn't, though, then I think White might be like, hey, fuck it, I'll fight the guy. All UK battle. He's coming off of 2 losses anyway, so I got confidence I can beat him. So I do think there is some possibility that Dillian White fights him. But I'm leaning towards the less likely. And then a rematch with Daniel Dubois. Dubois coming off the loss against, I do think it's possible because coming off the loss against Usyk in a fight that he believes he should have won because that questionable low blow on the belt line of Usyk. Dubois, if he truly believes that, then maybe he thinks right now is the time to fight Joe Joyce. And Joe Joyce said he might, he would consider a rematch with Dubois. They're both promoted by Frank Warren, so maybe this one is possible, but would everybody in the UK want to see the rematch? First fight was really good, but Dubois might push for it because he believes that he should have beat Usyk, and he knows, and he was also winning the fight on 2 of the 3 cards against Joyce when they fought, and he got stopped late in that fight, so he might think like, hey, I can beat Joe Joyce. And this might be the time to strike with him coming off of 2 losses. And Joe Joyce might want to go get a victory over a named fighter just to shake off the 2 losses to Zhang. So I do think it's possible. So overall, I think the most likely options are Dillian White, Daniel Dubois in the rematch, or Luis Ortiz in the top 10. Everybody else, I don't think, it just makes sense for them to fight Joyce. So it's either those 3 or the more likely that Joe Joyce is just going to have to start over and take on some regular, either unknown fighter to go after the knockout, or just, a guy sitting in the top 20, top 25, top 30 that, like a Christian Hammer type, which I think he already beat Christian Hammer. I'm just saying a guy on that kind of level. Or a Derek Chisora wouldn't be a bad name, but I think Chisora retired, I believe. Or he might be retiring, I don't know. But that's it. That's what I got. That's the what's next on former interim heavyweight champion Joe Joyce coming off his 2nd consecutive knockout loss to Zhilei Zhang for the WBO interim heavyweight title. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.